Welcome to Two Humans Talking. This is a podcast that talks about what it takes to be healthy and stay healthy in a modern, fast paced world. I'm Tiffany Simms, your holistic wellness and high performance coach. And today I'm here with Dr. Wendy, who is going to really just pull back the curtains from a mom's perspective, from a wife's perspective. I'm pretty sure she told me she was a veteran as well, or lived the veteran life, and is a pediatrician. And so she's got all of the things working for her that we're always like, what does the doctor think about this? And she feels the way we do. And so we're going to go there and really just figure out how to unmess our heads. I almost said unf our heads of how to have it all at the same time without losing our minds while we're juggling momhood and a career and being a wife and all the things. And so, Wendy, thanks for being here.
Thank you. I am so honored to be here. And I got to tell you, that was the best intro ever because I was like, yes, I wonder what the doctor thinks about all of this. It's
What does that doctor think?
that doctor thing. I wonder who we're going to be talking to here. Yes. Oh my gosh. All the things. All the
So,
things.
as we get ready to hop in, I know I just gave you an intro, but can you tell us who you are, what makes you sparkle, like,
Mm.
and what you're doing out in this world?
Wow. All right. So I got to tell you, I just always love starting off my introduction with like, I'm just a girl that likes, you know, black coffee and long walks with my dogs, who you may hear along the way here, no matter how much I try to keep them quiet, and the sound of laughter. And I think that's the part that just kind of like ties it all together. Yes, I'm a pediatrician. I'm a mom. God bless. I am retired from the Navy and I still keep on serving as a military spouse, like all the things. But there's so much that also comes out in my love of play. Of course, everybody's like, well, that's a pediatrician, but I think that's just at the heart of who I am. And, as we talk about stress and burnout, what was missing for so long that I'm really trying to like recapture for myself, but also to be able to share with others because it is so healing and fueling. And it's also something that comes out, as I've been doing so much more work on stage, specifically the improv stage. One of the scariest things I've ever done in my life, which is also so much fun being an improv comedian. So that's me in a very big nutshell. There's a whole lot.
Like, I know I told you this backstage, but like, you speak my soul's language. I also introduce myself by my favorite things. You know, for such a long time, when I introduced myself, and maybe you can relate, it was, I'm a nuclear chemist. I do this, I do that. Like, I started with the titles because I
Yeah.
thought that's who I was. And in the last probably 6 years or so, when someone says, oh, what do you do? I was like, oh, well, let me tell you who I am first. Like, I'm a girl who loves the pink. I'm the girl who, like, when I don't know what to do next, I go for a walk because the water grounds me and being outside allows me to, like, let it all go. And I always know what the next thing I need to do is because I've been able
Mm.
to let go of the all the 50 gazillion things that are I got frozen. I love to kayak. I like hiking. I love playing with my dog. I'm an aunt. I'm a sister. Like, I'm a niece. I'm a daughter. I do all of those things. And sometimes people look at you like, I just wanted to know what you did. I was just being nice, right? But it's like, no, like, let me share me with you because what I do isn't important if you don't know me.
Oh, I feel that so much. I don't care about contributing to the transaction of like what I do so that you can like feed the next question. This is
Yeah.
who I am.
Let me tell you who I
Ah,
am. And
yeah.
so I ask this question on the beginning of every podcast, and not not completely uncommon, but rare enough that when you started that same way, my soul breathed and was like, yes, you are speaking to me. I get it. Like, she's relaxed. She's going to be here. She's really going to have a real conversation with us today. And so I just really, really appreciate you for being you.
Mm. Thank you so very much because that is so it is so received in a way that I admit this is a practice that I have because that's not the way I did it for so many years. And it's actually something that came up through my improv practice. One of the lessons that I learned on stage is you don't go in trying to be the best character. You don't lead by what it is that you do. And I have some very colorful examples of how I've done that wrong. And my mentors were like, stop. This is the worst character. You don't lead with your job. Nobody walks into a room and says, hi, this is what I do. I was like, yeah, that's what doctors do.
Have you hung out where I hang out? Because that's exactly how those conversations go.
That's also what moms do. Like, hi, I'm a mom. I'm Nicholas's mom.
I
Like,
stay at home, I work, I'm a work from home mom. Like there's a classification even of mom.
oh, all of it. And so when he's like, I'm a shipbuilder, I bet you don't even know I'm a shipbuilder. I'm like, okay, true. And he's like, nobody leads like that. I'm like, no, all the roles that I know of do lead like that. And so that's where I started leaning into, okay, hold on a minute. Who am I? If I want to try to break out of this, how do I really look at who I am, what's important to me, what it is that's unique about me? I was looking at it through the lens of like character development on stage, like don't walk in as a nun coming in, with your hands, together and eyes to the sky. But how is it that I can translate that into, hi, I'm Wendy. I also happen to be a pediatrician, a mom, all these other things, but this is who I am.
Yes. And there's a little voice in the back of my head who's going, people are going to think you're discrediting the things they work so hard for in becoming because so much of our identity when we have big goals, degrees and doctorates and all of the things that give us letters and
Mhm.
titles, like it takes a lot of work. And it's like, oh no, we're not taking away from your accomplishments or the things that you love doing. It's like, you're an OR surgeon. That's really awesome. I bet you there's something that drew you to that profession that makes you you. And that's how you serve the world through your hands in an OR, right? But there's a piece of you that is in that, but you are more than the title. And then I
Mm,
also think, like, I do think it's also important because there is importance in the titles, in the description too. Where's my brain trying to go with this? It's that, like we want to surround ourselves with like-minded people and we do have that tribe mentality. And so we congregate ourselves and we
yeah,
collect ourselves in different pods. And so when Wendy and I are talking about like introducing yourself as yourself, one, it
yeah.
takes you knowing who you are because so many of us lose ourselves along the way. We don't even know if we had an hour to go play, we'd probably sit there and be like, I don't even know what that means. What would I do with myself? Right. And then also, like, what kind of people do you want to be around? How are you serving the world? And so your title, yeah, it's important. You worked really hard and you do a lot of really cool and amazing things in those roles, but it's just a piece of you. It isn't the whole you.
That resonates so much because I gotta tell you, there's so many spaces where I'm like, no, doggone it, I am a doctor. I am a doctor. Like you say Mrs. Schofer, I'm like, what does my mother-in-law have to do with anything here? Like that, I do not, this does not compute for me. But yet it's again, it's only part of the story. It's only part of the story. And there's a time and a place. And yet there's also, yeah, it's the human behind all of it. And yeah,
Now
I
that
felt that tension.
I'm really thinking about it, do you think some of that has to do with the world we live in, especially in the workplace? Like there is such a period of time where like the personality was stripped from the roles and you left home at home and work was work and there was no room for you to be yourself here. Like I wonder if that contributed to that that mindset in that approach to who you are, and like shoulders down, chest up. I'm the doctor, I'm the chemist, I'm the CEO, because we weren't allowed for such a long time. It wasn't acceptable to bring your personality with you.
I've got so many layers of this going through my head right now because I'm just thinking about, well, yes, and thinking about men, and men can be like, I'm going to work, I'm coming home. And in the traditional models, it's because they had wives that stayed at home and took care of it. And so it was this role, like you've got this role here, you've got that role there. We are changing all of that. We're
Oh,
changing where we are as women. We're changing the roles. We're changing how we um, not having others define us, but how we define ourselves. I think there's so many different layers to that. And yes, it is change. It's change for us individually, but also as a culture, being able to look at who is this human that I'm connecting to, as opposed to what is the role that they play, which feels very transactional, and perhaps also why we're just missing out on this real human connection anymore, because it's like, I'm going to talk to the doctor. I, I don't know why that came out so robotic, but
that is, because there is a piece of that that's true, of when the doctor really does only have 10 minutes, they have to fast track the thought
Mm,
process and the
yeah.
questions, right? No matter how much they want to be friendly with you, they also have a schedule to keep and more patients waiting. And so it becomes a little bit of that, I would say.
Mm. The missing parts of the humanity in
Yeah.
medicine. Yeah. I mean, I
And I
hear
don't
that.
think it was
It's
on
what we're fighting
purpose.
against.
I don't think it's on purpose. And I know there's a lot of doctors who don't like it, but they also know that that's just the way the beast is. And so they try their best to fit in, do what they can inside of the mold. I feel like it's a hard time to be a doctor. I feel like it's a hard time to be a doctor and a hard time to be a white man.
Well, I can't speak to the second one, so
But I mean, if you think about it, like they are just, it is not their turn.
I don't
I
quite
do.
think we're ready for those conversations that we're having in my house. I might know a couple of them, but
But I think it's a hard time being a doctor, because I think there's so many people who have experiences like you and I where we question things that we didn't question before, and realize that there are gaps in the medical system that aren't the doctor's fault. It's the
oh yeah.
training's fault. It's the system and the institution's fault. But but when you're part of it, it all kind of gets meshed together. How do you feel about that?
So I think that I take the view that there's no other time for me to be a doctor, so I'm going to make the most of this right now. And there's no better time for me to be able to say, this doesn't work as it exists right now, but what does? And
Mm.
so I'm actually, hmm, I'm kind of pushing back a lot on that whole system thing. And this is how you have to do it within this system. Um, I kind of take the role of, what are you going to do? Fire me? I kind of take the approach of, saying, this is what I know is needed for me. So to keep it sustainable, okay, to keep me clinically practicing, as well as this is what the human I'm working with in the office right now, this is what they need. This is what we need to surround ourselves. I mean, I think that that's where it's really changing the conversation. But like this is so much of cultural stuff. Like, how do we start changing culture? It's one bit at a time. My
Yeah.
hands always go out to the ripple effect. They're always doing that.
I was just coming to join the party. And then you said it, and I was like, let me find my hands tied them behind my back. Um, and I think that that's exactly what's happening, is that if whether you're a doctor or a high performance coach or a weight loss coach or
Mm,
whatever your thing is, being brave, there's two things, right? Like you've got to be brave enough to say, like, this isn't really working the way we thought it would serve the people we're trying to serve. I got to do better and I got to do it differently. So there's like the brave part of like, I'm going to stand in the current as it's moving at me and try to go the other direction. And then it's like the staying power of figuring it out and just continuously, relentlessly like tweaking and trying again and again and again until it sticks and gets traction. And that takes dedication to the vision of what you truly believe is possible,
Yes.
right?
Yes. It's standing firm with this is what I believe. This is what I know is right in my heart. Um, mm, so much of this, I'm coming back to that same conversation about like what is important. It's not about the role that you play, but the values, the mission, like what the why, that's what, really drives people. That's also what keeps people stuck right there in a good way amidst all of the different pressures and just being like, I'm not moving. This is what's important right now. And
Mhm.
so whether that is, with patient care, changing, the approach that we have, about stress and burnout and family dynamics and parenting and weight and all the things, it's all applicable where it's like, this is what's right for me, for my
Yeah.
family.
As we were talking about this just now, it's like so loud in my brain that that is exactly what moms do
Mm.
when they know in their core that something's not right with their kids or for their kids. I'm not a mom. So from your mom perspective plus your MD perspective, like can you speak to the moms who are like in that like something's not right? I'm really not sure. I keep getting told I'm crazy and not to worry about it. Like, can you talk to her for a minute?
Oh, my friend. Yes. Um, I think that one of the most powerful things that I have learned to do, and this is, through my pediatric practice, is to just listen. Because, they always say that the parents tell you exactly what's going on. It's not something where you have to like go, open up all sorts of different, evaluations. They usually tell you within the first few moments what's going on. And how often parents are coming in with that something's not right. They're like, something's off. I can't quite put my finger on it. And a lot of times we try to get into the very specific right away without just listening. What is it that you're experiencing right now? Because I think there's a lot of things that we have doubts. We have a lot of uncertainty about, how is it that things are going for me as a mom, for my children, whether that's, growth and social and, mental health and all the things. But just listening to like, there's something that my spidey sense is saying, I need some support. I need some resources here. And I think that that is something to really lean into because it doesn't mean that there's something wrong. So much of what we buy into anymore is like, okay, find the problem, fix it. And there's a solution and somebody's selling it somewhere. And that just takes us down a rabbit hole of all these other different things are like, oh, let's add all this other stuff to my to-do list, as if I wasn't stressed enough. Now I need to go hunt all this stuff down. But I think listening to like, what is it? They're like, I need some attention. I need some connection here to someone that can help me sort this out. I just need to not be alone with this and to be able to talk it out. That I think is one of the most powerful things that I've learned as a pediatrician that I'm taking out of the office right now because I mean it's really about taking that message, that connection, that communication elsewhere. Taking that out into the community, but also as a parent, modeling that for my kids. modeling that, like, receiving of them when they're like, "Ugh, this is just kind of like off. There's something that doesn't feel right," and just kind of sitting with it. Just sitting with it, not necessarily that everything has to be fixed, but like, let's just kind of share this together. And, you and I were talking earlier about like connection. It's all coming back to connecting. And I think that the more that we can create a space that we can be welcoming of that whole spidey sense, something's not right thing, like, let's welcome that and just be there with it. We can also,
Mm.
get into, curiosity. We can talk about, so many different things about, different resources and next steps, but just being open, I think that that is one of the biggest things that's missing. It, this is being human. It's not about creating a quick fix. It's about being there through all of it.
Yeah. And like for me, you mentioned curiosity and play.
Yeah.
And I think that's why kids are so much fun and why they're like, there are no rules yet because they have it like they're learning everything for the first time. And the simplest things bring them this big giant smile on their face, right? And we love that childlike wonder. And it's like, but what if, and I've been practicing this myself, it's like, well, what if I was curious about how the world worked? What if I was curious about the bird on that tree again? And what if I was curious about those weird feelings in my body when someone talks to me in a way and it wasn't like rude, but like my body says something's not right either. What if I was just curious about how that made me feel? Not for judgment, but to just understand myself a little bit better. And what would happen if I skipped down my street in the middle of the day and my neighbors happened to see me having a good time? What would happen? Have they commented as I'm dancing in the street after my walk? Yes. But like, if they judge that, that's on them. But what if they are encouraged to go have fun too?
I was going to say, I think that we are related here because I have totally done that.
Like, I don't know, there's just like, there are days when the sun is shining right, and I am just like, and I usually leave my phone in, I've recently been leaving my phone and my headphones home. So it's really just me and my own thoughts. And the
Mhm.
sun is right, my thoughts are in a good space, and all of a sudden I'm just like skipping and dancing, and I'm like, man, life is cool. Like
Yes.
me on my lunch, having lunch. And sometimes I'm just like, what if someone saw you? And I'm like, what if they did? I'm a 40-year-old woman. And if I am loving my life so much that people are going to have an opinion that I'm dancing in the street, that is a lot of them, but it's
Mm,
working really well for me.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, how much of this we get to be the change, the whole Gandhi, we get to be the change that we want to see in the world, but it starts with us. And sometimes it's just like letting it go and saying, yeah, whatever. I just feel like twirling in the street right now. Or
Ladies, I'm not kidding you. When before we hit record,
oh, we danced.
I made Bill and Wendy have a dance party with me because I could see on your face and in your body that, like, all right, I'm here. I made it to this part of my calendar. All right, I'm here. Let's go. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I feel like we need to move some energy and just like shake it out for a second. And we both sat back down laughing. Like I was joking with her. I'm like, don't pee your pants because I was really talking to myself because I thought I almost dribbled. Like it was fun. Those are the moments that like those are the moments for me that make up life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. And those are the things that I love the way that you're modeling that because I have it in my own examples, doing that in the office, doing that in the community, doing that, out and about at work meetings, but it's something that we can do that in every different I don't know, every different, area that we are in life. Like, how do you just like own it? Like, all right, this is what I'm being called to do right now. This is what's going to be more fun for me. And we'll see what happens for you, whatever that
So
is.
for the moms and the women who have really been stuck in role mode, right? They've been chasing the dreams, they've been keeping everything on track. Like they literally are the glue of their own universes.
Mm,
and there's a lot happening and a lot that they're responsible for.
yeah.
From your perspective, like, how do you encourage them to start getting curious and playful when they don't even know how to start or make time for that?
Mm. So, well, first of all, I don't buy that you don't know how to have time or be curious or, to be playful. It's just creating little experiments. Like, just what could that look like on a given, whatever today is, Tuesday? Given Tuesday, 4 o'clock, what can it look like to just play? Just a teeny tiny bit right now. And just kind of seeing what comes up. Because so many times we're like, oh, I don't have the time for that. Oh, that's not part of my experience. That's not something I'm practicing. I'm like, okay. And now we practice. We're just practicing little teeny tiny experiment. What can it look like right now?
In my language.
Oh gosh. It's magical because we've just put this out there for so many years that it needs to look a certain way. And so we've just practiced that a
Act
whole
your
lot.
age. You're a
Oh,
mother now.
oh my God.
You're a manager, you're a leader. And like, yes, there are some things that as we age, we need to learn how to get control over. Like, you can't go out and just be acting a fool. But that doesn't mean that, like, you can't be causing trouble in the streets.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but that doesn't mean that you have to stop living to play the role you've assigned to yourself or that the world assigned you.
So I think kids have so much to teach us.
Mhm.
Like all the stuff that we think that you need to, you know, grow up and do and learn. I think that it's actually a lot of things that we have an opportunity to unlearn and to really be able to recapture that joy, that curiosity, that play. All these things are things that kids have got locked on, totally have locked on. Questioning things. Ooh, okay. Who
Oh,
totally knows that? A 4-year-old. Oh my goodness. Creating boundaries. Let's talk to about a 3-year-old and their ability to say no.
no, thank you. Mm-mm,
Oh
no,
my
thank you.
goodness. Like kids have got this locked on. And I think that there's so much that as, we as parents can also learn from them. It's not about us trying to teach them and squash them and fit them into this box. How much of it is them helping us kind of like let ourselves back out again to be, the parent that we want to be the human that we want to be now that we have these really magical little humans, or in my case, bigger than me humans that are living in our own homes. And and I think there's just so much we've kind of flipped it. We flipped it in the wrong direction. And we're trying to like, I don't know, corral ourselves in all the time. All these rules, all these rules. This is what it needs to look like. According to whom?
I think it'll be really fun to watch the pendulum find its center
Mm.
of like the two extremes, the like no cares and the too rigid, and like really find its home there in the middle. I think it'll be really, really cool. Oh, Wendy, this has been so good. As we are wrapping up this episode, is there anything left in your heart that we didn't talk about that you wanted to share, or any final words that you want to leave with the listener today?
Oh man, my heart is so full. There's always more. Always more. I think that I mean really it's coming back. I always talk about, how we always do things for emotions. Like, everything that we do is because of an emotion, either one that we have, one that we, want to feel, one that we're desperately trying to avoid and like squash it away. And my emotion that is like going through everything is connection. And
Mhm.
yes, I totally make up the rules. I say connection is an emotion. So, but I keep on coming back to connection as being the glue, the fabric, but also the healing that we need. And, as I think of examples where there's, the parents that I just I keep on hearing the moms are like saying, I don't have a village. I'm alone. I'm on my own. What is that connection that you need? Going through, oh gosh, the long dark days of COVID with teenagers in my house. If you want to talk about some high anxiety right there, um, connecting with them was the only way that we could get through all of that because there was nothing we could change. But it was like that connection. We're here together. Just receiving that. I think that that's really that that connection can take so many different forms, but what is it that you need? I keep on asking. I mean, I say that not as in always like delivering to somebody else, but that's why I keep on asking myself, what is it that I need to connect to right now to, meet my own needs, to take me to the next level, to feel safe? Um, it's all coming back to connection.
This is such a great topic. Ladies, as we are transitioning into a new year, this is the last episode of 2024, and we're talking about connections, right? And so, as you are transitioning into 2025, what if you set connection as your word of the year?
Mm.
And really define for yourself what that meant and bring attention to what you're feeling in any given moment. What are you trying to create? What connections are you making in the different aspects of your life? I guarantee that if you explored that for the next 12 months, you would be a different person on the other side of 2025 going into 2026. And so, Wendy, how do people connect with you outside of the show?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to trust you will spell this in the show notes.
I
So,
will.
wendyschofermd.com. Thankfully, there is only one of me. So I'm very easily found. And then I also have my own podcast, which is Family in Focus with Wendy Schofer, MD. I kind of stick true to the theme.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for genuinely sharing your heart, your personality, your soul with us today. And with that, that's Two Humans Talking. I'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this episode as inspiring and actionable as I did. If you're ready to stop just surviving and start living a life where your health, your relationships, and your career work together without the burnout, then it's time that you join the Modern Women's Society. Inside, I'll walk you through my life GPS system, a proven blueprint to help you have it all while thriving. You'll gain tools, coaching, and the kind of clarity that brings big dreams to life without the stress, overwhelm, guilt, and shame that the modern woman is used to. We're going to create a life where you feel energized and excited to wake up every day and fulfilled when you put your head on the pillow. Click the link below to learn more and join countless other women who are redefining success on their terms. Because the life you've dreamed about is closer than you think. I'll see you on the inside.